friends, welcome to my garden. Today it's a beautiful day here. It's not as hot as it's been in the last few days, and it did rain a little bit yesterday, so the garden is feeling quite fresh today, and I wanted to spend some time cleaning some blooms and deadheading and just clean up in general. And I thought I would take you along with me and show you the things that I was cleaning up in my garden, and especially some of my roses, nepeta, salvia, they all need a little bit of cutting back, so I will be doing that today. And I'll also be removing some the poppies and cleaning that bed out, because I think it's time so that my other plants can now shine and grow. So I'll take you along and I'll show you what I'm doing and take you along. I hope you stick around and enjoy this maintenance cleanup day with me in the garden. Here's a sample of a rose that I will be pruning. This one has a lot of spent blooms, and it has some buds as well. So ideally you should be pruning the rose down to a set of 5 leaves, but because this is in various stages of blooming, all I'm going to do is remove the spent blooms. And if this is all you can do, that is also super beneficial for the plant, so that it can continue to spend its effort on the new set of blooms and flowers. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going around and checking all my plants and making sure that I've deadheaded everything that is spent. So this already cleans up the flowers, and it just has these 3 or 4 new buds that are yet to open. So that's what I'm doing with the roses. And ideally, if you can go down to a set of 5 leaves, that would be better, but it's okay if you can't, as long as you deadhead it. That's important, because the rose should not be forming the rose hips. If that's the look you want, then you can let it go to hip, but I don't typically do that at this time of the year. I might do it when it's, you know, the last flush of roses and it's going to be winter, if I want to have the rose hips for winter. But now I wanted to keep blooming, so I'm going to keep deadheading my roses and making sure that they continue to push out new buds. So here is another look at how I'm deadheading. I'm just chopping any of the spent blooms so that the plants can kind of focus their energy on producing new set of blooms. And that's what I do. And then I go around and I'll pick these up after I'm done cleaning all of my flowers. And I find this really a relaxing activity to do in the garden. It's a good way for me to spend time in the garden and relax at the same time and watch all these pollinators in action. I mean, there are so many bees and so much action on this lavender and all of these blooms. I think it's been a stunning journey to kind of watch this unfold every single day, and I am thoroughly enjoying these moments in the garden. And cleaning up the plants is kind of part of the process. I mean, it takes 5 minutes, but it's a really nice and relaxing chore to do in the garden. And I try to do it if not every day, every other day. Like, I'll keep a pair of scissors handy, and I just find it very nice to kind of be out in the garden and deadhead the plants. Like this one here needs a lot of deadheading. It has a lot of spent blooms that need to be cleaned so it can look better, and it can you know, look a lot fuller with blooms. So I'm going to keep going and keep cleaning this up, and I'm going to then move over to some of the other plants and show you what I'm doing there as well. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep going and show you, once this is all cleaned up, how this looks like. This plant looks so much better now. and so does that one, and it's going to be full of blooms in no time. It's been blooming constantly all summer. So let me finish this and I will show you the next one that I am deadheading. So here is a sample of a rose that I can deadhead up to the 5th leaf. So if you look at this one, it's a spent bloom, and this is the set of 5 leaves. So this is where I would be cutting this, deadheading this rose so that it can flush out new blooms. I have to be careful as I have so many plants in here. So I'm just going to snip it off at that point, and that's it. That's how you would deadhead a rose and clean it up after it has spent blooms. Even my peonies, I like to clean up the spent blooms on them because it just makes the plant look a lot neater. So I'll typically just cut the bloom stalks in just down to the next leaf so that it looks kind of clean, like the plant looks a lot cleaner. And although if you just leave these on, it would be fine. I just like removing them from the plant and giving it a little bit better visual in terms of like foliage. It kind of looks cleaner and neater. I like doing that with my peonies as well. And I kind of want to take a moment to show you this beautiful lily that's blooming in my garden. It's probably only going to last a day, so I want to show you what that looks like. Looks so pretty with that beautiful pink color. So nice to see that. And these are the blooms on my quick fire fab. They are just beautiful, and they're coming into bloom right now. Just so gorgeous in the garden today. This is my salvia, which is done blooming. This is the crystal blue salvia. So I'm going to actually deadhead this. I'm going to remove a lot of the spent blooms and give it a bit of a haircut. As you can see, it's already forming some new flowers here. So if I did nothing to it, it would still give me some blooms. So I'm just going to like prune this more selectively. And I've had a lot of damage on my salvias from earwigs eating them. So I don't know why they love the salvia plant and they keep eating all my salvia plants. And there's holes in most of them. So it's a little disappointing, but that's okay. I mean, I'm trying my best to manage organically my garden. I might put out some earwig traps, but they are quite active in my garden right now. So I'm just going to clean it up, and there are still some blooms that the pollinators are enjoying. So I'm going to leave some, and I'm going to give it half a haircut, and then do the other half when it starts to flush in a little bit. So that way it doesn't look all bare. So that's what I usually try to do with the salvias. I try to strategically prune. As you can see, some of them have new buds. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to clean up the salvias here. I have a few of them here in the front which need cleanup, and I'm also going to trim back that catmint as well because it needs trimming as well. So I'm going to clean these up, and I'll show you when I'm all done what this looks like. Just wanted to give you a before visual of what this looks like right now. They're all green, which I also love. I mean, I love how they look in their all green form as well. So you could leave them, but I kind of want to see them bloom again. So I'm going to give it a bit of a trim, and I'll show you what this looks like. Here it is. I wanted to show you that I cleaned up the salvia, and I've also really cut back the catmint there. It should flush out new growth and new blooms soon. It's actually been blooming since early May for me, end of April, early May, and this is the first time I've cut it back. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time to flush new growth and new blooms, but I think in about 3 weeks or so I should start to see it bounce back and show me some buds and blooms. So the next thing I'm going to also deadhead is this coreopsis. So coreopsis produces a lot of blooms and needs constant deadheading. So that's the only thing about this plant, that the more you deadhead it, the more it's going to bloom all summer. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just cutting back these spent blooms, and I will gather them up and put it in my yard waste. And literally that's all I'm going to do to this plant, is just remove all of these spent flowers. And you could even like go and shear it back completely if you wanted, and sacrifice some blooms and take them and put them in a vase. But I like to take my time, and I just cut what I see is dead, and then clean up the plant. And I also did the same to this scabiosa. I removed any dead kind of buds, and you can just come in and shear the plant back, and it should flush out new blooms and start putting more energy into new buds and blooms. So that's what I'm doing. I've kind of also did the same to the Veronica. I've removed the dead blooms. So I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to finish up this garden, this front garden bed. It's been a glorious morning with all my butterflies and bees surrounding me, and I've been like chilling and doing this slowly and relaxing here with my buddy Ollie. And it's been a great morning so far, and the weather has cooperated. It's not super hot, and yeah, it's been a good morning to be out in the yard and do a bit of cleanup and appreciate all the beautiful blooms. And I think I spotted my first Japanese beetle, so I have to be on the lookout for those. Luckily at this point I do not have too many roses. I just have a few blooms here and there, so but I still have to be on the lookout and start. What I usually do is every morning come out with a soapy jar of water, and I just dunk them in there. So that's what I do. So I'm going to have to do my rounds early in the morning and inspect my blooms, and it's going to have to start soon. So I saw one in my garden as I'm deadheading, so they are out here now, so I'm going to have to be on the lookout. So going to continue cleaning up, and if there's anything else that I want to show you, I'll show you along the way. Next, I will be removing some of these poppies that have gone over. I'm actually going to remove them and dry them, basically tie them up and dry them so that I can collect the seeds. And I can dry these outside. I don't have to let them dry here. I can hang them upside down, and I will let them dry in my shed, and then I can collect the seeds. So I'm going to spend some time and clean up this area, and I'll show you what this looks like. The poppies have been blooming for a really long time, and there are still some that are blooming, so I might leave some of them, but there are a lot that are done blooming. So I'm going to start cleaning this up a bit and show you what this looks like when I'm all done. Here is a before of what this looks like. I mean, even in this state, I just love this garden so much, and I hate to remove some of this, but as you can see, the foliage is kind of dying, and it's kind of done its thing, and it's time to let the coneflower shine now. So I'm going to remove these spent poppy blooms and just hang them up so that they can dry for collecting seeds for next year. Here it is. I have actually cleaned out all the poppies. As I started doing it, I noticed some of them were blooming, but I kind of thought it would be a good idea to just remove them all for now, because a lot of my other plants weren't getting the light that they need, and I also needed to weed the bottom, and I need to deadhead some of the plants that they were blocking. The poppies had a good few weeks of glory in my garden, and I think it's now time for me to focus on some of my other plants. This echinacea plant, I think something may have stepped on it, some animal, because it's kind of leaning over. So I have to find a way to stake it. I might just put a tomato cage in it for this season so that it kind of gets the support it needs. So I'm going to do that with that plant, and then the rest of the other plants are doing okay. I do have some dahlias that are starting to come into bloom, so I kind of want to enjoy these flowers next. So I think it was a good idea for me to remove the poppies, and I think I also have a lot of daylilies that are coming into bloom now, so I'm going to focus on those. And I need to deadhead, and I need to clean up the floor of this flower bed, so that is coming next. So I'm going to be spending some time doing that for the rest of the afternoon. And so yeah, this is a little bit of a cleanup video that I wanted to share with all of you and take you along. And it's kind of, cleanup is like a everyday task. It's a work in progress, and that's what gardening is all about. A lot of exciting plants still to be blooming in this spot, and I'm excited to see them all come to life. I also uncovered this salvia underneath everything that is not doing so well, so I'm going to have to maybe place it in a better spot so it receives more sun. And I might have some other ideas of what I want to plant in this spot here. I have a beautiful knockout rose that I recently purchased on at a very good price. It's a sunny knockout rose, which is a nice yellow white color. I might place it there, I'm not sure, or I might add some other perennials in there that are taller. So I'm going to think about what goes in there, but I do find that there is a nice spot in there that can take something beautiful in there. So I'm going to think about what goes in there. But for now, I think I like the space that this has created. Lots of deadheading that I need to do and kind of clean this up. I need to also deadhead my catmint here, so I'm just going to shear it back to the ground and let it flush out some new growth. And so that's what I'm going to continue doing. I just wanted to share this little video and show you what I was doing for cleanup. And as you can see, I have tied up all my poppies in 2 bunches here, and the seeds will kind of eventually dry, and I will enjoy these either in cooking, or I might give some seeds away and save some seeds for later on in the season to plant them again in the winter wherever I want to. I might choose a different spot for them. Although I enjoyed them in this spot, I feel like they were kind of overshadowing a lot of my other perennials. It was an experiment and it was quite successful. So I'll think about it for next year, what I want to do with the poppies. But I have lots of seeds, and I'm going to think about where I'm going to place them next year. So it's getting really hot and warm right now, so I'm going to take a bit of a break from all the cutting and pruning and enjoy a nice cup of relaxing tea and enjoy the rest of my afternoon in the garden, just relaxing in some shade. And with that, I wanted to thank all of you for joining me today. It was a really nice time cleaning up in my garden and spending some quality time in the garden. I find this really relaxing and really enjoy the presence of all these plants, and just being around in the sunshine is really soul-filling. And I hope everyone is having a fabulous gardening day wherever you're joining me from. I am indeed really enjoying my garden and all the pollinators and all the busyness, the buzzing sounds in my garden, and it's been exciting. So thanks again for watching. I hope everyone is having a fabulous day, and I'll catch you in my next video.